You've probably heard about the UN's big goals for the world, right? Well, goal number 1 is the big one. No poverty, and it's number 1 for a reason. It's pretty much the greatest global challenge we face. But here's the thing. To even have a shot at solving it, we first have to really truly understand it. So let's start there. What is poverty? Seems simple enough, doesn't it? But the answer is so much more complicated than just not having enough cash. Seriously, take a second. What does that word poverty actually mean to you? Before we get lost in definitions, let's just get a sense of the scale we're talking about. That number? 600 million. For over 600 million people on this planet, poverty isn't some abstract idea. It's a daily, grinding battle for survival. It's a struggle for the most basic things we take for granted. And this is where the picture starts to get a lot clearer and a lot deeper. The Nobel laureate Amartya Sen just completely reframes the whole issue. He says, look, it's not about an empty wallet. It's about the deprivation of potential. It's being denied the chance to get an education, to be part of your community, to live with freedom and dignity. It's a stolen future.
Okay, that's a really powerful way to think about it. But how in the world do you measure deprived potential? To actually tackle the problem, global organizations need a line in the sand. They need a concrete number to figure out who needs the most urgent help.
So the World Bank draws that line. They call it extreme poverty. And as of 2022, they set that threshold at living on less than $2.15 a day. Now that number is adjusted for what money can actually buy in different places, but it gives us a global benchmark for the most severe, life-threatening level of poverty.
So, we have a definition and we have a number. But what's the actual game plan? How does the UN propose we go about tackling something so absolutely massive on a global scale?
Well, SDG1 isn't just some vague wish. It's broken down into 5 clear, actionable targets. Think of it like a roadmap. It starts with wiping out that $2.15 a day poverty, but it goes way beyond that, to building systems that actually protect people from falling into poverty in the first place.
And this is where you see how systemic the approach is. It's about creating safety nets and creating opportunity. A huge piece of the puzzle is social protection, because right now, and this is a staggering number, 4 billion people have no safety net at all. Another key part is ensuring people have equal rights to things like land or access to small loans, or even just having a legal identity so they can participate in the economy.
Okay, if the plan seems pretty clear, why is poverty so incredibly hard to beat? Well, because it's not caused by one single thing. It's a tangled, complex web of interconnected factors.
The source material used this really interesting analogy from the show Squid Game. It suggests poverty isn't usually a single event, like falling off a cliff. It's more like a series of setbacks, a lost job, an unexpected illness, a bad decision that leads you into this unmarked area that just keeps getting wider and wider until you're completely trapped. To really capture that complexity, researchers developed this idea called multidimensional poverty. And it totally changes the question. It stops asking, how much money do you have? And it starts asking, are you being deprived of basic health, a decent education, or safe living standards? It's a much more holistic view.
And here's how they measure it. They look at 10 specific things across 3 big areas. Health includes stuff like nutrition for your kids. Education looks at how many years you got to go to school. And living standards cover the basics, like clean drinking water, a toilet, and electricity. If you're deprived in at least a third of these things, you're considered multidimensionally poor.
And then, layered on top of everything else, social discrimination acts like this powerful accelerant. A really stark example comes from India, where 5 out of every 6 people living in this kind of multi-dimensional poverty belong to lower caste or tribal groups. It's a powerful and sobering reminder that who you are often determines what you can become.
Now, as if the challenge wasn't already big enough, a few recent global crises have basically just thrown gasoline on the fire, and in many places, they've actually pushed progress backwards. The shock of the COVID-19 pandemic was just devastating. In 2020 alone, an estimated 71 million additional people were pushed into extreme poverty. Livelihoods just vanished overnight as the world shut down. The virus might not discriminate, but its economic and social impacts certainly did.
And then there's the climate crisis. A UN Special Rapporteur warned of a future of climate apartheid, and that is an absolutely chilling concept. It's a world where the wealthy can afford to pay to shield themselves from the heat waves, the superstorms, and the food shortages, while the world's poor are just left to suffer the worst of the consequences.
And the injustice behind that warning? It is staggering. Look at these numbers. The global north, with just 19% of the world's population, is responsible for 92% of the excess greenhouse gas emissions that are driving climate change. Meanwhile, the global south, which has contributed only 8% of the problem, is left to face the most devastating impacts.
But look, it's not all grim news, I promise. Amidst all these huge challenges, there are incredible people and amazing projects out there proving that solutions are absolutely possible. Let's look at a few.
So check this out. In Brazil, a project connected small-scale cassava farmers directly into the supply chain of a major beer company. This wasn't a handout. It was just smart business that integrated the local community. It generated a huge boost in income for the farmers and ended up benefiting nearly 10,000 residents.
Or in the US, a guy named Ray Faustino realized that social support systems are often impossible to navigate, so he created 1Degree, which is basically like a Yelp for social services. It's a simple search engine that empowers people to find the help they need, right when they need it.
And sometimes, the most powerful solution isn't about money or services at all. It's about human connection. You have organizations like Lightbox that focus on providing long-term companionship for children who've gone through trauma, helping them build back their self-worth. As one social worker said, that kind of support is often more crucial than education itself.
Seeing these real solutions in action brings us to the most important question of all, right? What can we do? What's our role in all of this? The path forward really involves both learning and acting. It starts with just understanding the issue, both in our own backyards and around the world. And from there, it flows into our daily choices, supporting fair trade products, advocating for fair wages, giving our time or money to organizations doing the work on the ground. Every single one of those choices creates a ripple.
And that brings us to the most crucial point of all, getting rid of poverty. It isn't about charity. It's about justice. It's about recognizing that every single person deserves the chance to reach their full potential. So the real question isn't whether we can afford to end poverty. It's how much human potential can we afford to waste by not even trying.